headlines for tonight. Federal government requires 35 billion naira for construction of concrete roads nationwide, says minister. Army troops rescued 31 kidnapped victims in Sokoto earlier today. Plus, Israeli and Hamas have today agreed a truce, as well as release of 50 hostages. Hello, this is NEWSLIVE on Viewer Television. We're reaching you live from our studios here in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. I am Adiyu Abdullahi. David Umahi, the Minister of Works, yesterday said that the federal government requires 35 billion naira to commence concrete road construction, stating that 16% of materials needed will be from steel and 30% from cement. Umahi disclosed this during a meeting with Shaibu Audu, Minister of Steel Development in Abuja. Umahi, in a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary, Oji Uchenna, said that the Ministry of Steel Development will play a major role in the road infrastructure revolution plan envisioned by President Tinubu by providing more than 16% of the materials needed for the construction of the Nigerian roads in concrete pavement. He said that tapping into the opportunities in the steel industry will create jobs and wealth for Nigerians' population, create a global market, and encourage industrialization. According to Umahi, the steel industry is the bedrock of Nigeria's industrialization and the backbone that stimulates national development and provides an economic boost for the industrial growth of any nation. Troops from the Nigerian Army rescued a total of 31 kidnapped victims during a clearance operation in Sokoto State yesterday. The Army, in a statement today, said the resilient troops of the Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Hadarin Daji carried out the operation. It added that the troops carried out the operation under the command of the General Officer commanding 8th Division Nigeria Army, Sokoto, Major General Godwin Muktuk. According to the statement issued by the Army, Mutkut and his men have continued to intensify onslaught and conduct series of clearance operations to terrorist enclaves in its areas of operation in the northwest. All the discovered terrorist hideouts were destroyed as the terrorists abandoned their captives and fled from their camps before the arrival of the aggressive troops. The troops also proceeded to Gobora village, where one female kidnapped victim was rescued as the terrorists and bandits fled in disarray due to troops' firepower superiority. And the Defense Headquarters has debunked the death of rumors about the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, making the rounds. Spokesperson of Defense, Brigadier General Gusau, who debunked the fake news, noted that the attention of the Defense Headquarters was drawn to an unfortunate publication by an online newspaper alleging that the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, passed away yesterday. He emphasized the fact that the report is unfortunate, unethical, and lacks credibility. To put the record straight, Gusau stated that the CDS General C.J. Musa is alive and hearty. The Chief of Defense Staff, who just returned from an official assignment outside the country, has since resumed work with more vigor to continue with his uncommon leadership style to prosper the armed forces of Nigeria. The online newspaper has since retracted the news story and offered its unreserved apology to the CDS, his family, and the armed forces of Nigeria. The House of Representatives Committee on Finance has resolved to carry out a status of inquiry on the National Lottery Trust Funds over non-remittance of revenue generated for year 2022 and 2023. Chairman of the committee, Honorable James Falake, gave the ruling in Abuja during the ongoing 2024 Medium-Term Expenditure Framework Fiscal Strategy Paper interactive session, where National Lottery Trust Funds, Federal Road Safety Corps, and Lagos International Trade Fair Complex Management Board were invited. The Falake-led committee, after examining the documents brought before it by the National Lottery Trust Fund, queried the rationale behind spending of the entire 6.3 billion revenue generated for 2022 and 2.5 billion revenue generated for 2023. The committee, while citing relevant section of the Act, says since the agency is being funded by the federal government, it is expected that it remits 100% of its revenue generated back to the federal government.
8.13 from one source for permit holders. That's what they remitted. And then you expended 2,492,996,58813. That's what you are saying. And you put performance 100%. Please switch off your mic, sir. Status inquiry on lottery trust fund. Status inquiry means that we're going to bring in an external auditor, okay, to audit your accounts, your books, all your income and your expenses from day one to date. That's status inquiry of National Assembly. If we are found, we will send a report on the plenary, and if you are found guilty, you may to refund or and then any other punishment thereof.
Executive Secretary of NLTF Bello Maigari, while defending the agency expenditure, noted that the agency is in deficit of 252 million in 2022.
2023, current year.
Current year.
Yes.
As at October.
As at date.
Okay. Okay.
The update is as at Friday.
Good.
Yes, sir.
And then you spent how much?
What we have spent so far is about 2 point, well, roughly the same amount.
The committee also requested that the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex Management Board reappear on Tuesday due to the fact that it failed to provide relevant documents needed. From Plateau State, Plateau Youth Liberation Movement, in collaboration with Plateau Youths, a non-partisan group, has called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to intervene on the ongoing governorship case for peace and stability of the state. The group, while briefing journalists in Jos, raised security concerns following the appeal judgment in favor of the APC. Nasir Saidu completes the report.
These are Plateau Youth Liberation Movement leadership in a press briefing on the recent political developments in Plateau State.
Our aim is to promote the unity of the state. As a people with the responsibility of ensuring peace, viral and progressive society, we find it very expedient to speak out at this point in the annals of our political journey. The state had in the last few months enjoyed relative peace, and this is due to the concerted efforts of the state government and security agencies. But we are worried over the turn of events and threats flying all over the state due to the recent judgment of the appeal court on elections in the state. As we speak, security report reveals that the state is sitting on a cake of gunpowder because of these judgments. And as concerned Plateau citizens, we do not want our state to return to its dark days. Over the years, Plateau had its fair share of security challenges and loss of lives and property due to electoral violence. This is why we are calling on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to use his renewed hope mantra, which simply means hope for every Nigerian, irrespective of political inclination, to address these concerns. We want the president, being the father of all, irrespective of political party, to wade into the matter to save democracy and ensure rule of law prevails at all times.
The group quoted former President Obasanjo and former Vice President Atiku on the plot by APC in denying millions of Nigerians the right to vote candidates of their choices.
We totally agree with the recent comment of former President Olusegun Obasanjo, where he says, and I quote, "Abnormal and total unacceptable for a few persons called judges to overturn the decisions of millions of voters during elections." We equally agree with former Vice President Atiku Abubakar for saying that the ruling APC has turned the Nigerian judiciary into a cash and carry, one where politicians who don't participate in primaries are named as candidates, while actual winners of elections are sacked for flimsy excuses. So, we are appealing to National Judicial Council, NJC, and other critical stakeholders in the judicial system to intervene with a view of ensuring that the right thing is done.
They have also called on relevant authorities to investigate member representing Panshin Kanke Kanam, House of Representatives, Right Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, on his comment following the appeal court judgment.
We call on relevant agencies to investigate Honorable Yusuf Gagdi, the member representing Pangshin, Kanke, and Kanam Federal Constituency, for his inflammatory utterances that preceded the appeal court judgment. The boasting of Gagdi simply suggests a deep-seated compromise on the part of the judiciary, with high possibility that money had exchanged hands to till the judgment in favor of the APC.
The appeal court has already been passed in favor of the APC. Members of this group pray that President Tinubu will intervene ahead of the Supreme hearing for peace and stability of the state. Nasru Saidu, Viewer TV News, Jos.
We will be going on a short break. When NEWSLIVE returns. Democratic Republic of Congo's army has vowed to arrest and punish any soldiers in contact with the FDLR militia, citing zero tolerance for wrongdoers regardless of rank. Details of this and more comes to you after the break. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is NEWSLIVE, a recap of our top stories. FG requires $35 billion for construction of concrete roads nationwide, says Minister. Army troops rescued 31 kidnapped victims in Sokoto earlier today. Plus, Israeli and Hamas have today agreed a truce as well as release of 50 hostages. Godwin Emefiele, former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has been granted bail by the Federal Capital Territory High Court in Maitama, Abuja. He was granted bail of $300 million after being arraigned on a 6-count charge bordering on procurement fraud of $1.2 billion. Emefiele had pleaded not guilty and applied for bail from the custody of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The court noted his application and adjourned to November 22nd for ruling, while ordering his remand with the Nigerian Prison Service. In his ruling on Wednesday, Justice Hamza Muazu stated that the charges in the cases are a bailable offense. He directed that Emefiele must produce two sureties who have landed property in Maitama district of the FCT as a condition for his bail perfection. Emefiele is expected to remain in the Kuje Correctional Center until his bail conditions are met. The trial will begin in November 28th. The National Youth Service Corps members have been advised to make good use of the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship courses they have learned while in camp for self-development due to the economic situation of the country. The Commissioner for Human Service and Social Development, Kaduna State, Rabi Salisu, gave this advice at the closing ceremony of Batch C Stream 1 orientation camp exercise in Kaduna.
Skill acquisition as a compulsory skill that is supposed to be learned at the camp, and they have undergone several trainings on different type of skills. We urge them all to take these skills not only during their NYSC period, that is 1 year period, but also to take it as part of their life, day-to-day activities. Due to the economic situation we are in the country, in any developed country, people that go into skills are the ones that are developed, especially if you can set example of China. You see people that they are graduate but they don't depend on government work. So I urge them all to see these skills not just as a temporary something, but it is something that they can improve their lives and the life of the community they have been posted to, and even going back to their various states, they can teach other young adolescent girls and boys that are coming up just like them.
I was opportune to go into agro allied, most especially fish farming and rest of it. And I know it's going to be beneficial to the country. And I believe of a truth, I'm going to practice it since it's not something that is time consuming. Even while I'm still serving, I can still be going to my place of assignment towards evening or night. I can still be practicing my fish farming. And I believe it's going to also help me.
I actually learned tie and dye, which is called adire, and I've always wanted to like learn the skills. So coming here, I had to, like, I've learned like the introduction part of the adire, and maybe from here I will start up my own adire brand and start producing adire to sell and make some cash for myself.
Coordinator of the NYC Kaduna State, Hassan Taura, also gave the Corps members timely orientation as they embark on their 1 year service.
Settle down quickly and make yourselves relevant in the community. Respect the culture and tradition of the people and do your best to identify with their problems and aspirations. I want to caution you against unauthorized journeys. You should avoid unnecessary journeys to minimize the risk of road accidents.
All Corps members have also been urged to emulate their predecessors in community development service, which forms a key agenda for this scheme. Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi has recently made another remarkable breakthrough by carrying out a successful kidney stone laser surgery known as laser lithotripsy, a surgical operation which does not require cutting the patient's body, but rather using the laser machine to reach the stone and break it down into pieces. Chief Medical Director of the hospital, Dr. Yusuf Jibrin, while briefing journalists shortly after the operation, says this breakthrough is as a result of the latest development recorded by the hospital in terms of acquisition of the state-of-the-art facility and expertise. Our Bauchi State correspondent Awal Hassan completes the story.
This is the first kidney stone surgery using a high-powered laser machine going on in the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi State, Northeast Nigeria. It took the combined efforts of a team of medical doctors and other health professionals, led by consultant urologist Dr. Everastus Azado, to accomplish this Herculean task which lasted for hours.
We just passed an instrument into the bladder, up the ureter, saw the stone, fragmented and dusted it with a laser, took out the parts that were big. We have left a tube there which is going to be removed in about 2 weeks' time, and the patient can start doing his normal duties. By tomorrow, actually, the patient can go home.
In those days, patients with this kind of illness were referred to other places outside Bauchi or even abroad, owing to lack of facilities to carry out this kind of operation. But today, the story is different.
Now we are able to get a facility and the expertise, and we are able to bring some experts from Abuja that perform the first operation together with the team of our doctors that are here and other supporting doctors and medical personnel that assisted them and doing this particular operation.
That surgery ordinarily will involve making a big cut on the patient's side, okay? And then you get to the stone, take out the stone, sew it up, and then close up. The patient is going to have a big wound, probably be in hospital for about 10 days, and then he's going to go home, still nursing his wound. And if you know anything about wound healing, it will take about another 3 months for him to be able to really be able to go about his normal duties.
This kind of surgery, which is called laser lithotripsy, is achieved as a result of the acquisition of state-of-the-art facilities by the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University Teaching Hospital in Bauchi.
This teaching hospital, Abubakar Tafawa Balewa Teaching Hospital, Bauchi, we've acquired a state-of-the-art laser, Quanta Holmium laser 100. It's what we call a high-power laser, and it can do a lot of things. You can use it for general surgery, you can use it for gynecology, you can use it for urology. Today we're using it for urology.
That brought this procedure closer to us. Before, as I mentioned earlier, many people have to go even outside the country to India, Europe, Saudi Arabia to get this kind of services. But now it's nearer to us and at a very affordable cost to the patient.
Vice Chancellor of the Abubakar Tafawa Balewa University, who was there to witness the surgery, says as partners in progress in the area of research and development, the institution has been supporting the hospital in many ways and will continue to do so.
Now the issue that we have facilities and university is meant to be for teaching, research, and community development. And this is Abubakar Tafawa University Teaching Hospital. And if this teaching hospital, you understand that there must have to have different way of solving issues. And we know that we're also in Bauchi, and whether it's a teaching hospital or the university, we are working for the people of Nigeria. So whatever we can do to assist, I think we can do that.
With major milestones such as this, medical treatment outside Nigeria will be reduced. Awal Hassan, Viewer TV News, Bauchi.
On criminal charges, the Kaduna Zonal Command of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned Sunday Ekale for committing fraud worth 2 million naira. The commission arraigned Ekele yesterday, November 21st, 2023, before Justice Darius Kobo of the Kaduna State High Court sitting in Kaduna on one-count charge bordering on criminal breach of trust and misappropriation. The suspect, however, pleaded not guilty to the charges when they were read to him. In view of his plea, prosecution counsel E.K. Garba applied for a trial date and sought the defendant to be remanded in the Kaduna Correctional Center. Meanwhile, counsel to the defendant, Usman Abdullahi, urged the court to grant bail to his client. After listening to the two counsel, Justice Kobo granted the defendant bail in the sum of 2 million naira only and a surety in like sum. According to Kobo, the surety must own a property in Kaduna State with a certificate of occupancy, which should be verified by the court registrar. Justice Kobo also adjourned the case to January 25th, 2024 for further hearing. A Nigerian man has traveled to Saudi Arabia using his bicycle to perform Hajj. The man started his journey from Jos, the Plateau State capital, in 2021 and gets to his destination by early 2023. Our correspondent Nasir Zaidu reports that the man embarked on the trip because he could not afford the flight and visa ticket to the Holy Land.
This is Alhaji Aliu Abdullahi Obobo, popularly known as Legend from Allah. He is 45 years. He shared the story of how he traveled to Mecca on a bicycle, a trip that seems impossible in the modern day.
And I lived Nigeria 2021, February 13. I went to Saudi Arabia with this bicycle. I flew Niger, Chad, Sudan, with the Red Sea to the Saudi Arabia. And I bought this, so I went to Saudi Arabia. People that they need my bicycle that I use it right from Nigeria to Saudi Arabia. Then bought this bicycle 200,000 riyal. I said I cannot sell it. I want to bring this bicycle back to my country, Nigeria. I'm a proud of my country, Nigeria. I said that anybody that will win the president of Nigeria, I will bring this bicycle to him to put it in our museum in Abuja. My mission will get to Saudi Arabia. I don't have the money to go to Saudi Arabia. And I love Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And every day I'm praying to God, say, God, I don't have the money to fly on air.
Getting to Saudi Arabia, Alhaji Ali was offered about 40 million naira to sell his bicycle, but he turned down the offer.
They need my bicycle in Saudi Arabia. I said I cannot sell this bicycle in Saudi Arabia because I love my country, Nigeria. And then bought this bicycle in Saudi Arabia, 40 million. In Saudi Arabia, Riyadh is 200,000. I said I cannot sell it.
Presently, Alhaji is planning to embark on his next trip to Lagos by foot from Jos, a journey that can take him days before arriving.
After 21 days, Allah will harap me in Lagos, inshallah. I have that strength to do it, and Allah will help me to do it, inshallah. And what I want them to help me to take this bicycle to put it in our museum in Abuja.
As nearly impossible as this story sounds, looking at how far Saudi Arabia is from Nigeria, this man has done an amazing thing in Nigerian history. Nasru Saidu, Viewer TV News, Jos.
You're still watching News Live on View Television. Business and international news come to you right after this break. Do stay tuned. Nigeria's Naira weakened across official and unofficial market as dollar shortages linger on Tuesday and Wednesday on the foreign exchange market. Today, Naira fell to 1,150 Naira per dollar, losing 0.43% over 1,145 per dollar yesterday at the parallel market, also known as the black market. Some street traders bought dollars at 1,145 and sold at 1,150 Naira. There is dollar, but the demand is high, said Aboki, a foreign currency trader based in Lagos. At the autonomous foreign exchange market, Nigeria's official forex market, the Naira depreciated by 10.78% as the dollar was quoted at 830 Naira 97 kobo on Tuesday as against 750 Naira 14 kobo quoted on the previous day. Data from the FMDQ indicated currency dealers quoted dollar as high as 1,121 Naira on the spot segment and as low as 600 Naira per dollar. The daily foreign exchange market turnover declined 30.71% to $122.46 million on Tuesday from $176.75 million recorded on Monday. The Nigerian Exchange Limited has called on the federal government and the Central Bank of Nigeria to prioritize listed corporates in their procurement process and access to foreign exchange. According to Chief Executive Officer of the NGX, Temi Popola, this approach will encourage more companies to list on the exchange and mitigate the prevalent foreign exchange challenges in the economy. Popola, who spoke at the last MTN Capital Markets Day, pointed out that the NGX is excited about the administration of President Bola Tinubu and its renewed hope agenda as it presents an opportunity to work with market stakeholders, including the regulators, to address the challenges faced by the government and listed corporates. On tax matters, Nigeria again demanded that shipping companies pay outstanding tax bills totaling millions of dollars, reviving a dispute that triggered a spike in freight cost and prompted some tankers to stay clear of its waters. Africa's largest crude producer said non-resident shipping lines that take oil from the country should settle their notices by the December 31st deadline. The assessments were reviewed in June by an industry group. The cost of shipping oil from Nigeria soared the most in more than a year in June after some vessel owners avoided the West African nation when it tried to claw back unpaid duties dating as far back as 2010. In aggregate, some claims reached tens of millions of dollars. The dispute was blamed in part of a resulting glut of unsold oil. A committee of oil sector regulators, state-owned Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the President's office subsequently was set up to reconcile the company's obligation. The federal government has announced the launch of a portal for the Startup Support and Engagement Portal. The portal, which is a key requirement of the implementation of the Nigerian Startup Act, is meant to drive the identification and aggregation of startup in the country. The Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, disclosed this on X yesterday night. The Startup Portal will drive the identification and aggregation of Nigerian startups, venture capital companies, hubs, and innovation centers to facilitate engagement and support for ecosystem players. He highlighted that the launch of the portal will allow the government to initiate the process of setting up startup consultative forums to select representatives to the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship to facilitate discourse and consensus among ecosystem players. This development is coming a year after the Startup Act was signed into law by the former President Muhammadu Buhari. On the international scene, Israel and Hamas announced a deal on Wednesday allowing at least 50 hostages and scores of Palestinian prisoners to be freed, while offering besieged Gaza residents a 4-day truce after weeks of all-out war. And the first major diplomatic breakthrough in the war, Palestinian militants will release during a 4-day truce 50 women and children kidnapped during their October 7th raids. After weeks of Qatar-brokered negotiation, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet approved the truce accord today after a near all-night meeting in which he told ministers this was a difficult decision, but it's a right decision. The cabinet sign-off was one of the last stumbling blocks after what one U.S. official described as 5 extremely excruciating weeks of talks. Hamas released a statement welcoming the humanitarian truce and said it would also see 150 Palestinians released from Israeli jails. Today, France has welcomed the Israeli-Hamas truce deal, hailing the work of Qatar in securing the agreement and saying it hoped that the French national will be among the hostages released. 8 French citizens have been missing since October 7 Hamas attack on Israel, and for the moment, it is not known if all of them are being held hostage. Among the hostages were a French adolescent boy and also an adolescent girl for whom France had received proof of life by video, she said. Mayor Habib, a French deputy whose constituency of French nationals abroad include those in Israel, told Jewish community broadcaster Radio J on Wednesday that 1 or 2 French people were among the hostages to be released. Welcoming the deal as a moment of real hope, Colonna hailed particularly the work of Qatar in clinching it after weeks of tortuous talk. Colonna also said that Israel must do more to protect civilian population in Gaza. U.S. fighter jets struck 2 targets in Iraq earlier today, killing 5 pro-Iran fighters in retaliation for repeated attacks on U.S. troops in Iraq by Iran-backed groups, U.S. and Iraqi sources said. The U.S. military conducted discrete precision strikes against 2 facilities in Iraq, U.S. Central Command said on X, previously Twitter. The strikes were a directed response to the attacks against U.S. and coalition forces by Iran and Iran-backed groups. The Post added, and these come a day after previous U.S. airstrike targeted Iranian-backed fighters in Iraq. An Iraqi security force official said Wednesday's strikes killed 5 fighters of the Hezbollah Brigades, a pro-Iran group within Iraq's hashed Al-Shabi Population Mobilization Force. A hashed official confirmed the death toll. Democratic Republic of Congo's army has vowed to arrest and punish any soldier in contact with the FDLR militia, citing zero tolerance for wrongdoers regardless of rank. The FDLR is a descendant of Rwandan Hutu extremist groups that fled into the Democratic Republic of Congo after carrying out the 1994 Tutsi genocide in Rwanda. The Democratic Republic of Congo is regularly accused of working alongside the mainly Hutu FDLR in its fight against Tutsi-led M23 rebels in turbulent eastern Congo. In a video statement on Monday evening, Congolese army spokesperson Sylvia Nekenge said that all soldiers, regardless of rank, are strictly and unconditionally forbidden to maintain contacts with the FDLR. A Tutsi-led group, the M23 has seized swaths of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo since launching an offensive in late 2021 and driven over 1 million people from their homes. The M23 is backed by Rwanda, according to UN experts, as well as several Western states, including the United States and France. And that's all on NEWSLIVE, but before we go, a recap of the headlines. FG requires 35 billion naira for construction of concrete roads nationwide, says Minister. Army troops rescued 31 kidnapped victims in Sokoto earlier today. Plus, Israeli and Hamas have today agreed a truce, as well as release of 50 hostages. Many thanks for watching. Be safe, be vigilant, and report any suspicious movement around you to the security agencies. I'm Abdullahi Aliyu. Please stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs. Good night.